It's what's the time? I don't have my glasses on. I can't see. It's Saturday, June 21st, 3:39 a.m. Midterm's done, and it was a chill. I think it was a fun day. I woke up around pretty late today, 12. Watched Paper X versus Wolves, the first map before my exam. Went and wrote my exam. Was okay. I think everyone finished kind of fast. Just last exam, everyone wants to be done with it, and also I don't think it was too difficult in terms of what I saw. And yeah, we went rock climbing for a bit. It was around 4:35 ish. There for about an hour, 2 hours, 2 hours. Ani went back. He was gonna go out with some of his friends. Karen went home. I saw Daniel playing. I said League of Legends, but he was just playing TFT. So I think everyone's just gonna rest up this weekend. Had Muna and Cookie went to the club. Happened. Wonder how that went. I'm sure they're back by now. 3:40 in the morning is late. I don't know how long you stayed for. 2 hours. We get to lit around 1. Did till 2:30. There's no trains back. Maybe I have to leave earlier. I don't know. I don't know how it works, especially if you're going in Toronto. How that would work being so late. Because when my friends and I went in China, we were there till what, 2? Yeah, both days we were there till about 2. We were out later than that. Like, I think we went to do karaoke on the second time. But not my forte, not super well versed. I think it'd be fun though. I feel like that's one of the most fun things. Not I don't particularly like planning travel, but like finding a way back in a crunch. That's kind of fun. Maybe that's the whole idea with how I feel about. I think I was talking about this yesterday with novelty. I planning travel. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's just like I'll just look at it and be like, oh, this is where we have to go. We have to go here at this time. Like we can do that. But when we're in a pinch, I don't know. It feels like I'm in a movie and I'm the tech guy. I'm just like, wait, how do we maneuver this in a hurry? Um, Maybe it's the novelty. It's like, ooh, this is exciting. Like a lot's on the line here. I guess in a similar way, that's how it would be if you were just planning travel in advance. And I tend to be late, and planning ahead could probably help with that. But yeah, exam's done. I was gonna go to Toronto today to work on a job application where we need to record a 60-second video. But my friend is busy today that was going to come and help me. So instead, what are we going to do? It's pretty late. My sleep schedule's a little bit messed up now. I'm waiting to play Fudger. She's in, I can't see, must be like 10 minutes. 10 or so minutes. So yeah, I'll pray and probably go to sleep. And then what am I going to do tomorrow? I guess I still have my exam on Wednesday. People say it's chill. Maybe I'll probably do get some studying done tomorrow. Just to get a bit ahead of it. Stay in the zone, not fall too far back into. I mean, not that my habits have ever been good. This term has felt so weird in terms of feeling time. I think because I just haven't been going to class. I haven't really been seeing my friends. There's no routine per se. I don't really have a routine. But also, yeah, it just kind of feels like this whole year has been one big blob. I mean, I was doing a little bit. I had a little bit of work to do with my job, my 2 jobs in the winter. But I was at home a lot, and I was working on things slowly. Our cursive writing got better. We haven't been doing it that much recently, if at all. So, falling a little bit of that. Same with Chinese. We just got the dates back for when the Chinese competition I'm supposed to do is. It's in Fujian of Beijing. Where they're supposed to give me a competition for 20 days, and it's coinciding with my exam schedule. We're gonna see. I emailed them back and asking like I could maybe get some accommodation, but it's unlikely. No professor wants to make a separate exam for one person. So that I don't think will happen. But yeah, dang, time just felt so crazy. I mean, um I I finished my 2A term over a year ago now. I finished in April of last year. And it came up, was it yesterday? Yeah, well, I guess not yesterday anymore. Oh yeah, yesterday. Yesterday, 1 in the morning, came up when Roger was talking about it. She was saying, like, yeah, I feel like an unk now. I'm like, you're 21, bro. Life is gonna punch you in the face again. You're not an unk. And she was saying that no, like it feels like that because you changed so much. Like the person I was, the way that I thought, like how I was living my life, so different a year ago. That's what she was saying. And I think sometimes, at least what I find, it's sort of the thing when you see somebody every day, you can't really tell that they're changing. Like maybe it's their facial hair, which I hope it grows in better. It's not as patchy as it used to be, but like I shave it and it comes back really fast. So, but yeah, it's like facial. It's like you see the person every day, and you don't really know. Like it's there, but if you see them consistently enough, you're not going to notice. It's very gradual, or like the hair is getting longer. Only when you look back. And am I mumbling? I hope I'm not mumbling. We'll see when I watch it back. Only when you look back and see the things that you did, the way that you thought about things. It can be sometimes hard to go back, especially maybe when not even you don't have to go that far back. Even last year, some of the things that I did, I just think back in my head. And now with retrospect and hindsight, all I think is like, damn, I didn't need to do that. The situation wasn't that desperate. I think it is interesting. So I found what she said very, I wouldn't say eye opening. Something, I don't think that's how I describe it. More so, maybe just a quick reality check. And I think, at least for me, and maybe this is one of the things that we'll talk about, hopefully with filming more. I got my first, one thing I'm going to put in that weekly video. I took a video of my friends just after exam doing silly stuff. And I think I'm going to put that in the video. So I'm excited. But hopefully, one of the things I'll get to talk about it's sort of this idea of grief. People talk about the idea of people in their head when people like somebody and they can't get over someone, when somebody has a crush. Like a lot of that is your brain filling in the gaps. You don't know this person totally, and there'll always be someone filling in the gaps. But I think it's this idea that, in a sense, I think the grief that people feel, and maybe I felt, regarding like relationships, whether that be friendships, family, or whatever, maybe, and those evolving and changing over time, is sort of that the person that you knew, whether that be your friend, your partner, and loved it, that version of them doesn't really exist. And I think some people change more than others. They change at different rates. And not even just at rates, just like sometimes life will change you differently. Like that person doesn't really exist anymore. In a sense, the version of them that you didn't make up was real, just doesn't exist anymore. So in a sense, the version of that person has passed away. And maybe that's why the grief, I mean, I don't know. I haven't had somebody too close to me pass away. That's how I like to think about it. It feels similar in terms of like how I logically think about somebody close to me passing away. In that version of them isn't coming back. there might be some tendencies that do come back, but that specific version won't be there. I mean, at least that's one way to think about it. Another way I have thought about that idea of, people changing, or like the version that you knew isn't the one that you know. And I'm sure it's the same for me too. The guy that I was a year ago, or then the year before that, and then the year before that, they've all been slowly, carefully changing. And it's only when I look back, or look at a moment, or look at an event that happened to me, or that I acted upon, that I realize things are really different. And not even just, I think, looking at it from the sense of like, oh, this person isn't the same version of themselves. It's more of an introspective, internal way to think about it. But I think there's another thing I've been thinking about, at least over the last, maybe just this week. I started thinking about the idea that it seems like there is a certain, I don't know if it's phenomenon is the right word, maybe not, just happenstance, where two people or a group of people happen to be on very, very different paths, like super, like, I guess the way I think about it, and people may disagree, if you see your life as like there is a path, you don't know what's ahead, and you don't know what's behind you, and you don't know the direction, whatever. You can only know the things that you can kind of see a little bit ahead and a little bit behind you. But it's, I don't know, say for argument's sake, it's like set. I'm sure, and or maybe not set. You're on a path. I'm doing a bad job of explaining how this. This is good though. I'm trying to articulate my thoughts better. The external way of looking at this is that everyone's is walking along a path that is our life, and you happen to these paths are moving in random directions, and they just happen to at a certain time meet at the same point. And then I guess for a little bit, because these paths can change direction, your paths colliding sort of directs your path in the same way. Maybe that's a friend group, maybe that's a person. It could be a pet. It's like, oh, this pet gets rescued, or you're the one that rescues the pet, and you happen to have a pet now. Your paths have aligned, and you're the direction of where your life goes, and the pet, the dog or the cat, it's now changed because of it. So I think the way I've been starting to think about a lot of my relationships, like friendships, whatever, people like to say like right time, right place, right person, whatever, or like right person, wrong time. I think the way I more like to think about it, at least using that analogy, is in the moment, whether that be my friend, whether that be like a possible partner, whatever. It in specific moments, it probably was right in terms of what was needed at that point. I don't know if I can think of any examples that I'd want to talk about. Maybe my friend, probably one of my closest friends, in the way that our paths happened to converge, was quite interesting, where we didn't go to the same high school, and we didn't really have any reason to talk much. We played video games from time to time, and it was just kind of like that. This is a person you play video games with. It's chill. Some of my friends that I know in person knows this person in person, so that's chill, I guess. And I think he happened to go through something with some other friends, and I think the place that I was in my life at the time, what is this, 15-year-old me, 16-year-old me, in 5 years, damn, was maybe not going through a similar situation, but happened to understand somewhat the things that he was feeling. I can't remember if it was because of some of my prior experiences, some of the things I've heard from other people. I happened to get it, I think, when he would talk about it, and it was able to help him through it somewhat. And I think from that point, our paths again had sort of randomly converged a little bit, playing video games. And then that was the moment where our paths more directly aligned. And in that time, in those 5 years, like we've moved in and out. But in a sense, our paths in life might be quite different, but they're close enough, if that makes sense. I wouldn't say they're parallel, but we're close enough distance where sometimes one of us will walk over to the other person's path and see what's going on. I guess that's the nice thing about friendship specifically, is that your path doesn't have to be so tangled with the people that you are friends with. It can just be like, hey, we're all gonna like take a break off of, or maybe we're gonna walk to a location off all of our paths for a day or two and just chill, and that could be really fun. But it doesn't derail. Maybe derail is the wrong word. It doesn't drastically affect anyone's goals or pursuits. And I mean, people are in general are the most single they've ever been, the most single people in history. I know I've seen that stat in that headline. Cannot confirm or deny how accurate that is. This is what I've heard. Maybe I'll look for it. If I talk about it tomorrow, I can put a source. But I think that's a big part of it. I think it doesn't have to even be marriage, but even just being in a romantic relationship, your path somewhat is forced to be tangled with another. And I think there are ways to not fully tangle everything. Whether that be through career, like I think you can still have separate lives with your partner, whether that be in or outside or in the context of marriage. You can have separate lives, but your paths do get very tangled and very muddy. Yeah, so I can see why maybe that's happening less and less, for other reasons I'm sure as well. But just in my head, I can be like, hey, maybe that's not something. That's a scary thing, because you do have to kind of chop off a bunch of potential, and give up a lot, because nobody wants to give everything in terms of, or all the things that they want to do, or how they want their path to go, or where their path will randomly take them. For another, there's got to be some middle ground. Nobody's gonna get it 100%, unless they want to give it up 100%. I guess that's their prerogative. Yeah, that's even just in choosing it. But in terms of, I think one of my other friends, she talks about the fear that you'll meet somebody, and number one, like, she's not so worried about being with somebody. She thinks like, oh, she'll be able to find somebody, but like that person being, being it, and not only just being it in the moment for the first year, for the first 5, but for an extended period of time, for an extended period of their life, because people will change. Like we talked about, like, 5 minutes ago, we were talking about like our paths just happened to converge, and the people that we were there, it was great. It was awesome. There's something. It's a really good feeling when you are at the same point as a bunch of other people and you're all figuring it out together. It's really fun because you understand each other. You get each other, and I think it breeds a lot of strong attachment. I'll use the word attachment, but also love, and that can feel really good. It's just then when the same event can happen to 2 different people and they can take it very differently, and there's a lot of reasons and factors for that. But the same event happens to 2 different people, and they go in diverging directions, and what happens then? And I think it's a valid fear. It's a valid fear. And I think the world's solution currently is just don't, maybe not avoid it, but people just aren't doing it as much. And I don't know if that's how good or bad that is. I'd say you could make an intellectual argument about for both, like whether that being a good thing. It's like, oh, people have choice and they're choosing to live their lives differently. That's fine. There's no one's under obligation to do anything in particular. And then I'm sure there's intellectual arguments for other things, which is like, oh, we want humanity to continue, and will it stop because of this? I don't know. Intellectual arguments, just like intellect, is just. I don't. I feel like my perception on intellect itself has changed. Maybe that's something that has changed over the last year. I used to feel that you can have a conversation with somebody, you could give, and this is including for me. Like, this is not me attacking other people. You could have, you give them all the facts, and you could be right about those facts, and it still wouldn't be enough to make somebody change how they act or change how they feel about something. Because there's just, and this is me too. People can tell me just straight up facts, and this is not always, but like they can tell me just 100, 5, 6, 7 facts about something, and then there's still something in my mind. It's just like what is it? Like, this person's right intellectually, they're right. Maybe I can make an intellectual case myself. Maybe I do have an example about something. Maybe talking about, like, this is a silly one, but we brought up pets, like having a cat. Like, should a person get a cat? You can make a good intellectual argument for both of those things. But what is the thing that actually makes one get a cat? It's not the intellectual thing. It's like, oh, it'll increase my happiness. Maybe it will. I mean, that's a good thing. Or somebody to eat, like keep the bugs away. Maybe I don't know much about cats. I think they're cute. But yeah, it's not the intellectual points that make you get a cat. It's, I'm afraid to use the word feeling. I don't know if it's a feeling, because emotions, does that cover intellect? We're starting to get into the weird territory of that. But I do think if the intellect comes from like these impulses in our brain, I think there is something more when it comes to maybe not like trying to convince people of something, but in the way that people change. If people change simply because of intellectual argument, the world will be very different. And I don't know, I mean, maybe you can come, maybe people will call that the soul. Maybe the soul has intellect too. I know there's some interesting ideas about this throughout the world, and different cultures have different ideas and interpretations of that. Yeah, maybe the way people really change is their soul's intellect. Maybe there's a kind of, maybe thinking is a bad way to do it, because I don't know if the soul does exist, I don't know if people's souls act consciously, or if it's something that is just innate. I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot. Just like, if intellect and intellectual reasoning, logical reasoning, isn't the way that you incite change in yourself, in others, and in the world, then what is the way of doing it? Like, who are the people who are the best at that? And I don't know, I've started to look around, just see like who's really good at that. An example I was talking about maybe a month ago now was musicians, and why it is so, people are so captured by musicians. And I think there is something about the attraction to the artists of our day, and a lot of them are very, like, in terms of what our society values to be attractive, like they are, but I think there is something more in terms of the kind of work that they do and how their music affects you. Not only the music itself being good and you liking it, but the fact that they can, like, make you feel a certain way. That's really powerful. And I don't think that's intellectual in nature. Maybe they're singing a song about, like, is this like a little like a sappy, like heartbreaking love song, like, oh, is this person thinking about me, whatever. But I don't even know if it's the words. Like, they're not making an intellectual point. It's just, it's like, it seems to be like the power they have over how you feel, and bringing up these maybe innate senses within you. I realize what I just said. I don't know what kind of context it's going to be taken, but whatever. Yeah, so that's an example of this. I don't think musicians are inherently, it's not like an intellectual, they're not, the way they change you is not through intellectual music, but they definitely do change you. And I think that is something to look into in terms of how one can apply that to their own life, and how I can apply that to my own life. Not to manipulate people, which I think music in a way does, like, manipulate how we feel about things. Because you need your mood, maybe not your mood, but you do feel a certain way when you're listening to something like a super sad song or super happy song. It does change the way that you feel. But it forces some level of change. Maybe it's quite short and it's in that moment. It's something I think I'll probably continue to think about. I don't know how you look into that, because I don't, again, you're talking about like intellectual ideas. I don't know if, learning about the science of that will be that helpful in terms of applying that into my life. Yeah, something I've been thinking about. Maybe the soul has an intellect, and maybe that's the way, if you want to convince people of something, or if you want to convince yourself of something, it's not through intellectual reasoning or logical deduction that you do that, but it is through the nourishment of one's soul. I'd say, would some people describe listening to music as a nourishing experience? I'd say so. Something to think about. But it's been 30 minutes. This goes really fast. I hope I'm not mumbling. I'm trying to, like, every time I remember, I'm like, oh, talk slow. Don't stumble over your words. Be clear. Yeah, but it's been 27 minutes. We've just been talking to the camera again. This is fun. I don't know how many times how much dead air time there is when I'm not saying anything. But yeah, this is fun. I think I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm shouting into the void, putting it on the internet. Maybe one day people will see it. I don't know if that's a good thing. Have I spoken about anything I shouldn't have? I don't think so. These are just some of the thoughts I've been having over the last few days. We'll see what we do today. I don't know what we're gonna do today. We're gonna play Fudger now, and again, after exams, things that don't seem purposeless, but it's just like, what do I do with myself now? Had a very strict goal. Maybe I'll give myself a goal for tomorrow. This is a part of the whole, like, starting new thing. Maybe we'll get some more footage for this supposed video that's supposed to come out. What's supposed to make. Yeah, I just need something to look forward to. I know, like, having a reason to get up is like, go to class, reason to get up, go see your friends is a reason to get up, and I do enjoy that. But we need to do something. Maybe that's what we'll do today. Because of my lack of outro, I don't know how to end this, so I'm just gonna hit the stop button, and I'll be back tomorrow to talk more to myself, I suppose. At this point, it's just me talking to myself. This is fun.